What's going on? I hope you guys can hear us and see us okay. Welcome to drboystv.com and the Black Boss channel. This is a platform for intelligent Black people. So we are here to talk about what's going on in the world. Robinhood. There's been a lot of action around Robinhood, a lot of anger toward Robinhood. And these brothers right here have been on top of it. They have really been digging in. And as you know, there's millions and millions of brothers and sisters out here now that are into investing and or I hope they're into investing and not just trading, not just gambling. We're here to make money long term. The long money is better than the short money. So everybody remember that. So don't forget also, this is a Black platform. We put our community first. We believe the Black community needs to save itself, that we can do it. We can do anything anybody else can do. So if you agree with this philosophy that Black people, Black priorities must come first, put a hashtag B1 in the chat, hashtag B1 if you agree with this philosophy. So with that said, I want to introduce the brothers that I have today. We're going to talk about Robinhood and the latest developments on the Robinhood GameStop situation, the stock market as a whole, what's going on with Dogecoin and all kinds of stuff. And so I have Jeff Lightsey Jr. here from Ball Sports. Raise your hand, brother. Good to see you. John F. Thomas, award-winning filmmaker out of LA. My brother, how you doing, man? And also Tony Lindsay, who is also a filmmaker and also an investment enthusiast as well. Yeah. You do a lot of trading and things like that. So and he's just a good brother, great brother to talk to. So welcome, brothers, welcome, guys. Welcome to everybody in the chat. Hit your thumbs up button. Please hit your thumbs up button and please greet these brothers as you come through the door. All right, so let's I'll start with you, Jeff. What's the latest on the Robinhood and the whole trading environment? A lot of people are mad at Robinhood right now. I saw a lot of anger. What's going on with that?
So it's so funny that me and Tony started this morning. Everybody was pissed at Robinhood, right? Because they stopped the trading of the AMC and of the GameStop and all of this stuff. And so the way the Reddit community wanted to flip the stock or flip the whole finance or investing community on its head is to invest into cryptocurrency. And it wasn't Bitcoin. Bitcoin's at 34,000 a share. They don't want to get in on that. They want to get in on the ones that are at 1,500. So they got in on penny stocks. They got in on what's known as Dogecoin that started off this morning. You could have bought at a penny a share and got as many shares as you want. And now it's up to about 7 cents per share. So it don't sound like, oh my God, Jeff, it's just 7 cents. What does that mean? Well, think about it. If you bought a penny stock at a 7 cents per share, say if you put $100, whatever, you have $700 now, right? Like that's the flip that you could have made, 700% return on investment. And that's what's going on. And so it was going on so fast, so much so fast, Dogecoin got up to about 8 cents per share. And it's since dropped a little bit. It's now hovering around 7, but it shut down the Robinhood app. So we started off this morning mad as hell at Robinhood, but Robinhood is the most convenient app to get the Dogecoin. And it actually shut the app down for 30 minutes because so many people was trying to buy all at the same time. And the thing kept freezing and crashing. And it's just a mad race to get the Dogecoin because the guys on the internet wanted to get to 50 cents or potentially to $1. It's like you're thinking out of this world. You're thinking out of this realm the same way we were with Bitcoin just about 2 weeks ago. It's what's happening with Dogecoin right now.
Okay, so John, what's been your role in this, John F. Thomas? What have you participated in any of the chaos and jumped in the middle of the fire and made a little paper?
Yeah, man, I bought just a little bit in GameStop, nothing too crazy, but I already had some shares in AMC. I had some options in AMC, and I had some shares in BlackBerry. So initially, I was told, oh, GameStop is taking off. And I was just like, wait, what? Like GameStop's taking off. And then next thing you know, my coworker was telling me, he was just like, hey, oh man, like AMC taking off too, man. BlackBerry taking off. And I was like, yo, what are you talking about? He was like, they talking about this on Wall Street Bets too. So I happened to look. And I was like, oh, thank you, Jesus. Okay, all right. I'll take that. But I started getting nervous because I was just like, oh man, if they are manipulating the market on their end, it's a lot of people at the top, including politicians, that aren't going to like this. So they're going to clamp down on it. They're going to find a way to clamp down on this. So I was trying to sell yesterday, but I was just like, man, you know what? I'm going to make it to where I sell today. And long story short, man, they clamped down a little bit sooner than I thought by just making it to where you just had to sell. So the price started dropping, and typically I would hold, but I can't predict the future. So I was just like, let me just go ahead and head out of Dodge, with my gains. And that's what I did with the majority of it.
Okay, so Tony Lindsay, break some of this down. So so it seems like there's a lot of euphoria around the sudden rises and drops of a lot of these securities. I mean, you got GameStop going crazy, AMC, Nokia, BlackBerry. Now it's Dogecoin kind of in the mix. This is exciting, right? If you're on the good side of these trades, but every time somebody makes money, somebody's losing money. So what do you think? I mean, do you think that the fun outweighs the potential danger of a market like this?
Yeah, well, I think right now a lot of people are overlooking the imminent danger of this because everybody's riding this wave, and everyone loves to ride the wave when it's going up, but we're forgetting what can happen as that wave goes up, just like you said, it's going down for somebody else. And I think what we're seeing is going to cause a lot of collateral damage for a lot of people who are not as informed or as savvy investors. And, I think that's something that we really need to be careful about because Robinhood is pretty much working in tandem with these hedge funds. And people are really getting confused about that. Robinhood touts itself as being a platform that is for, the average guy, the average retail investor, but we have to understand, we have to understand that Robinhood, their customers are not us. Their customers are the hedge funds like Melvin Capital and Citadel Securities. Those are their customers, the same people who are buying the order flow. Those are the people that are really paying them. So, there's going to be a lot of collateral damage behind this. So I think people need to trade wisely. And I also see a lot of people rushing over to cryptocurrencies because I think like a decentralized trading platform is something that is becoming a lot more appealing to people after seeing what's going on here.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, Jeff Lightsey Jr. What I see is, the frenzy and the mania I see now. First of all, it reminds me of 2017 when Bitcoin was taking off. Same thing happened. Everybody's going crazy. Everybody was, they were getting into stuff like BitConnect. There was a company called BitConnect that everybody was talking about, and somebody in my team came to me. They said, "This is a pyramid scheme. Like somebody's going to get killed on this financially. You got to tell people this." And I did a video saying, "Okay, I looked at this. I analyzed it. It is a pyramid scheme. Be careful. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but this is not. This isn't something I would mess with." And I remember I had a lot of people that got really upset. A lot of people were messaging me, and they were, some of them were very nice. They were like, "Well, look, Dr. Boyce, I think you're just confused. I'm the regional representative for BitConnect, and I'd like to come on your show and talk about." I'm like, "No, you're not coming on. No, you ain't coming on my platform talking about none of that." And BitConnect went belly up. BitConnect just literally poof in a blink of an eye disappeared, and people had thousands of dollars of their money in BitConnect. That company just disappeared. So I almost feel like this is fun, right? It's like almost like throwing money in the street. Everybody's running out and grabbing their money. But I'm wondering how this is expected to play out, because as Tony was saying, Robinhood is Robinhood ain't really, they're telling you like, okay, we're Robinhood, which means we sound like we're working for the little guy, but really we're not, because he's right. The Robinhood makes their money from the order flow that's bought by the big boys. The big boys pay them to corral up the little guy and get the little guy all inspired and empowered and jump in. So here's what I'm going to narrow it down to a question. I was watching some commentary from Robinhood. They're trying to sort of explain their way out of, the fact that people are pretty pissed off right now. Can you talk about that?
So what they're doing is giving you the runaround, right? Me and Tony read Robinhood's statement this morning about why they stopped the trading of AMC, GameStop, and others, Nokia, and all the other ones. And it was basically said to protect you from yourself. But at the end of the day, we are adults. We are our own people. We get it. What they're doing is protecting themselves. Like, they're trying to not get these lawsuits, which they still ended up getting anyway. But these big lawsuits, these big financial losses for some of these guys, because the volatility on all of this stuff is so high, right? Like, you're putting money into this thing, hoping that you're going to get out rich. But at the end of the day, essentially, you can lose a lot, especially when it comes to this cryptocurrency. Now, the thing about crypto and what the Wall Street guys, what the Reddit guys have kind of figured out is that there's no real backing behind crypto. Wall Street doesn't have a stranglehold over crypto, right? The federal government don't really have a stranglehold over crypto because it's so new, because it really is essentially like like pretend money. It's like digital money. It's not something that's backed by banks. It's not something that's backed by the US dollar. It's just like I'm putting money in and everybody else around me is putting money in, and that's what's making it go up. So technically it's up, but really in reality, it isn't really a real thing. So that's why a lot of people have ran to it thinking that, okay, I can get rich. And what happened to me with AMC, what happened to me with Nokia won't happen to me in this space because it's not the same. We're technically not messing with the big Wall Street guys, and hopefully they'll leave us alone. That's what this thinking seems to be. But whether that's true or not, because the volatility is so high, we've yet to find out. We really don't know.
Yeah, that crazy volatility. I've been watching. I guess I got fixated on GameStop, but obviously there's others out there. But GameStop's the most interesting until you're talking about Dogecoin. And with GameStop, I have never seen this before. I've never really seen a stock that'll go up $100 and down $100 and then up $100 and down. I mean that don't and people talk about that, right? People will say, well, the big guys on Wall Street, they manipulate prices too all the time. Not like this. They
not like this type of company, right? We're talking about an old school throwback digital trading brick and mortar type store. Like nothing about the GameStop's business plan, nothing about the way they market themselves has changed in 20 years, right? So just imagine all of a sudden, because 3 million guys on Reddit decided we want to keep our stuff, you're betting the shorts, and we're saying, giving you a big middle finger and saying, F you, we're going to raise this up. And the ones who bought the shorts had to buy it up. It's unprecedented. And so all of it's unprecedented. Now everybody's trying to find the next GameStop, and a lot of people think it's going to be this Dogecoin.
Okay, it looks like Tony has something to add to that. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I was just saying that another thing that's contributing to the extreme volatility of this is the fact that there's so much pushback from these brokerages like Robinhood and TD Ameritrade and even Webull now on behalf of these hedge funds. So we've been seeing like a pretty straight trajectory upward, but a lot of the pushback, you see the swings that you were just talking about, Dr. Boyce, about, it's going up $100, then it's going down $100. That's the pushback that we're seeing pretty much from the establishment trying to keep things in order. So we're literally in a standoff right now. And like we said, when we were talking about it earlier, they pretty much they pulled out like it was a cheap move. Like it was a really cheap shot what Robinhood did by restricting people from buying their shares. And when you're buying in a short squeeze, buying shares is what makes you money. So they've literally denied people the opportunity to make money, and they force them to lose money. So this is it's a squeeze of the short squeeze, and they have to be held liable for this. And today the CEO of Robinhood, what is his name?
Vlad.
Yeah, Vlad Tenev. He went on there with Chris Cuomo, and I got to be honest, I have my issues with Chris Cuomo sometimes, but man, he went in and he really gave that guy the business today. And just like what we were talking about this morning with that disingenuous mealy mouth apology, so to speak, from Robinhood, this guy was on TV doing the exact same thing.
You don't run around.
Circular patterns, not answering anything. But there was one thing that I want people to pay attention to from that interview. There's been a lot of speculation on social media about the billionaire, the owner or the founder of Citadel, Ken Griffin, the billionaire.
Ken Griffin, yes.
Right. People are saying that he gave Vlad a call, before this happened. It was like, listen, you guys, we got to shut this down. Stop all of the selling with these stocks. And they bought a short interest in all these stocks. So,
really?
Yeah, we talked about this morning. Yes.
Yeah.
Go
ahead.
So you're saying that basically the dope dealer called up the police captain and said, okay, we gotta take the attention elsewhere or shut this down, these protests down. because basically the people that are doing the robbing, or better yet, doing the short selling, basically called up Robinhood and said, "We're losing too much money. Y'all need to like shut this down and fix this." Is that accurate?
That's exactly what they did, and they loaded up on their shorts. And so now, when Robinhood forced all of the everything to crash and tank, they just recouped all of their losses. And guess what they did when they hit the bottom? They jumped right back in, because they know this movement right now is shooting these stock prices straight up. So what do you think is going to happen? They're going to make their money 3 times over, because not only are they going to make their money on their way back up, they also know that GameStop is like grossly overvalued, and that the company shouldn't even exist anymore.
The bubble's going to burst.
Right. The bubble's going to burst, and then they're going to get more short positions and double down again, and they're going to triple the profits that they made before this whole thing started. And we're going to just be sitting here thinking that we did something, and there's going to be a whole lot of collateral damage with the regular people who put their life savings into this and lost it.
Wow. Everybody, I'm speaking with some real smart brothers about what's going on with Robinhood and GameStop and everything else going on in the stock market. There's a big story here. Jeff Blightsey Jr., John F. Thomas, and Tony Lindsay have joined me today. And also, some of you are asking if there's a tutorial where you can kind of learn and get short up on investing. Go to firstsharestock.com. There's a free training there on how to buy your first share of stock. Also, you get free information for the Black Business School. We have a free class that we give you where we'll make sure that you're good and that you're informed and you know what's going on, because in terrain like this, you want to know what's happening. So first, there's the URL on the screen. Hit the thumbs up button. Okay, so let me throw this out there. Somebody also presented a theory to me today that I thought was really interesting. I was talking to a brother, the Wall Street Trapper, and I like the guy a lot. And he's a good dude. And one idea that he kind of mentioned that I kind of actually said, that's a good point, is there's been times where there's been artificial populism, created, like sort of just almost something that's made to look like it's grassroots, but it's really not. And we talked about this earlier, but I think we should bring this up again. Where a lot of times you think something's organic and it's real and authentic, but really there's a puppet master in the back kind of pulling the levers. And when you look at this Reddit group, I'm really curious. There's no doubt that the group is being infiltrated. Like everybody and their mama is trying to get in there now. If anything, just to see what stock's going to pop off next, right? Predictable volatility is the easiest way in the world to make money. Because you put your money in, you let the stock pop, you sell it to the suckers, and you bounce, right? So that's a nice Robinhood play, right? Because you really are robbing the hood. So I'd be curious to know what you guys think about that. Like, do you think that this is all really what it appears to be? Because as Tony just mentioned, there's that whole possibility that the hedge fund was telling Robinhood what to do, which we don't know if that's true or not, but it's a possibility. But there's also the possibility that that Reddit itself was being influenced by somebody, by a big player that somehow gave the impression that this is a populist thing, but it's really not. What do y'all think about that?
I think there's definitely a possibility. Trust me, nothing goes out of my head when it comes to people trying to get over on other folks, right? So since we did the initial video, I would say yesterday, and then since me and Tony did our video this morning, that Reddit group, the Wall Street Bets, has doubled, right? So it's went from like 2 million to closer to 4 million, just in the time in the 24-hour period. So you mean to tell me that it's doubled and there's nobody in there trying to get folks to flip or to do something that they want? Absolutely. I absolutely think that is a possibility. So I'm not putting that past anyone. What I also find very interesting is that just like how, the Robinhood was able to stop the trading on those certain stocks, there is now a precedent that has been set that they can literally stop the trading or stop the buying of any stock they want with no explanation. Like now that is precedent set. And since nobody in the government, nobody has said that was illegal, and the class action lawsuits have to go through the courts and they may or may not win. Robinhood has so much money, have billionaires backing them. They can fight these little guys in court for forever. They'll be able to do this again. Like there's no telling like that. What took place with GameStop may be a once in a lifetime thing, because now we know that they are going to be able, with no explanation, to be able to stop you from buying whatever you want whenever they want. And it wasn't just them. It was other trading apps that were in on it as well, and they didn't have to explain to anyone. That is a dangerous game that we're now playing, that they were able to take advantage of, and were able to just go on CNN with Chris Cuomo or give to all their users or whatever and say, hey, we did it and we just wanted to. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what's so scary about it.
Well, do you, John? Do you trust Robinhood now? Like, how do you feel about Robinhood differently than you felt before all this went down?
You know, I remember Robinhood got in trouble before, not too long ago, with having. It was a big day, you know, for a lot of investors, and for whatever reason, a lot of people couldn't. They lost thousands of dollars. They couldn't go in, and I think you spoke on that a while back and was saying that Robinhood can get in trouble for that because, you know, a lot of people lost money. So that's when I initially kind of like took notice. And also I love the user friendliness of Robinhood, but I was sitting there thinking at the time in the back of my mind, and it never fully actualized until recently, but I was just sitting there thinking like, man, this is so easy, you know, for a lot of people just to come in and just don't know anything about, you know, investing. Either they can make money or they can lose a lot of money. And I was just sitting there thinking, if people get savvy enough to where they know how to invest in, like the poor people and the middle class people, where they start making money, a lot of people at the top are not going to like it. A lot of politicians are not going to like it because they're making a lot of money off of Wall Street as well and getting paid by the lobbyists and by keeping everything status quo. So a lot of the top 1% and those whoever pockets they grease are not going to be happy with the poor, the people at the bottom and the people in the middle, knowing how to make money now. Now they know how to work the game. Now I know how to trick the system, how y'all been doing it for decades now. Now I know how to do it. And it's a big problem. So now they're trying to quickly reverse course. And just like Jeff was saying, now there's a precedent set. Same thing like what they did with what they tried to do with social media with Donald Trump.
Yeah.
If you can block the president, if you can tell him what not to do now, I can kind of do anything. I can block boys and not really give a reason why I block boys. Right. So we'll just say, oh, he said something we weren't really sure about it. We'll pop him up later. I don't have to give him an explanation. Yeah, he's back up. So what are you complaining about? And same thing like this. Oh, it's just these stocks, AMC and GameStop. No, it's only these stocks. Don't worry about it. Yeah, it's volatility. Oh, we can't trust you to do stuff with your own money.
You know what I'm thinking about that too is I don't really know if rich people are offended so much if people are making money. I think that they're more offended if you take their money. Right. I don't know. I'm not sure. I know some people that got money. I don't think they get offended when other people start making money. They get offended when people are making money at their expense. Right. And especially if they're using the same tactics that rich people have used. Some rich people, not that being rich makes you evil. I don't agree with that because I got students that made $100,000 off of this stuff. Right. So being rich does not make you evil. It might make you a little, sharper. You might know the rules a little better. You might be a little quicker to the punch. Maybe in some cases you take chances other people don't take. I know that when I was able to get ahead of some of my friends, it was because I'd say, hey, let's all go do this. And they say, oh, I'm too scared. I'd be like, okay, well, I'm going to go do this. And I'll see y'all when I get back. And next thing you know, I'm coming back with a bag of cash and everybody's hating. But it's like, no, we had the same opportunity. You just sat back in the corner and got scared. So I almost feel like it's not so much about. I think that what's probably driving people crazy is the fact that because I think that they will probably agree with the idea of investor education, right? Just okay, yeah, let's all get the market because when everybody's invested in the market, the investors win because it pumps up the prices of stock. Robinhood overall has had a net negative effect on the market because for people like me, it means great that now I got people that are going to keep the prices pumped up on some of these companies that would normally go flat. Say 20 years ago, right? But I think that the problem I'm guessing is really that they literally went head to head with this company, this Melvin Capital.
Right.
Melvin Capital had all this money on the line. They literally they were going to make money when the stock dropped because GameStop was headed to hell. It was a garbage piece of crap company, and they said, "No, we're going to punish you and push it upward." And it almost seemed like it was a game at first. But what I'm also wondering is, maybe these guys, maybe they have that same HODL mindset that people have with Bitcoin, with crypto. HODL, HODL, hold on for dear life, is a culture, right? It's like I bought this, I'm gonna keep this, I'm gonna hold this no matter what. And I wonder if these individuals might just become activist shareholders. Like, look, we own GameStop. Reddit owns 35% of GameStop. So we're going to make this company do things in a different way so it actually can become a better company. What do you think about that?
No, I think that's definitely a possibility. I mean, because I was running through so many different scenarios in my head of like, what are the possible reasons? What could happen? Even like now with Doge going up, it's just like, this is great. But now that Robinhood has basically, again, set their precedent to where we're just going to stop these stocks. No, you can't buy any of these. You can sell it, but you can't buy it. You know, so it's not really a free market. It's free when we want it to be free. So now what I'm worried about is now that you've done it to these stocks with basically a BS excuse. Oh, it's so volatile. It was volatile the past week. What are you talking about? It jumped up tremendously, you know, and you didn't stop it then. But now you're going to stop it. So, but what I'm worried about now is what they could potentially even do to Doge. So now it's like, can I, you know, now that I probably have like a few $1,000s and I try to sell it, will they even try to punish like us, like the little people, or even like the people who are trying to, like, who knows? And they don't have to give an explanation for that. They can just be like, oh, sorry. Yeah, we're having some technical difficulties, guys. You know, so I don't, it's a lot of stuff going through my mind, and I'm just trying to just plan out what is potentially possible and how I can protect myself against that.
Okay, so I see Dogecoin is at 82 cents. Tony just put that in the private chat. So why does that excite you, Tony? What you got some money on Doge?
well, yeah, I did have money on Doge. Like when I was talking to Jeff this morning, I put some money on Doge at I think it was at like 2 cents when I spoke to you. And I think I dumped it at like I think it was like 40. I keep saying 40 at 4.3 cents. I dumped it, and you know it started to go back down. It went down to like 3 cents again. So I bought back in. It went all the way up to 8 cents.
Yeah, it's a point. It's 7.8 cents right now.
Right. So that's a great time to get out. I tried to get out for about 45 minutes.
You couldn't get out. You couldn't get out.
I still can't get out.
You know, it's funny. I think somebody commented earlier that it said that Dogecoin payment can't be processed right now. So I guess they were having the same issue.
Listen,
weird, man.
My screen crashed. It's not working on my phone. It's not working on my browser. It's changing like the readings on my buying power. It's changing the amount of my portfolio. Like Robinhood is a complete mess right now.
Wow.
And I think people really need to look into other options, other trading platforms. This is getting ridiculous and it's too unreliable because I just had to sit there and watch myself. Well, I made like maybe 500% in gains and I watched it all disappear as I was trying to sell.
Oh shit! That sounds so terrible, man. Well, let me. By the way, everybody, if you could hit the thumbs up button, please hit the thumbs up, share, subscribe button, and also, speaking of options, some of you are asking about stock options, stuff like that. We actually have a masterclass on stock options if you want to learn how they work. I use options a lot, but I don't really buy options that much. That's what the Robinhood guys do. I let them take all the chances. I like to sell options though. Whenever an option is bought, somebody has to sell it. And selling options is a great way to actually make income. So like somebody, you know, those of you out here that buy a little bit of stock, you can actually, if you buy the right ones, you can actually use that to generate monthly income every month that might, you know, boost up your personal income. So there are a lot of ways to use markets, and I'm a fan of markets. But when you get into volatile markets, it does become tricky territory. Now, let me read to you guys what Robinhood is saying as they're speaking from both sides of their mouth about why they're shutting down certain stocks and not shutting down others. I think Robinhood is kind of feeling they're feeling a little bit strange because their card kind of got played, you know, because they built their brand off of sort of being this sort of we're the champion for the little guy, and I don't doubt that they weren't trying to be that, but they were also wired into the system because a lot of their revenue generation comes from basically packaging up the little guys and making them formidable enough to generate enough order flow for them to pay Robinhood for that order flow. That's what they do. They manage, they pull together people and they sell that collection of people. Now the other way that Robinhood makes money is through margin. When they give you margin, and they give a lot of margin, a lot of guys are in there trading on margin. That's why I say be very careful, because that debt, if that collapses on you, that stock drops. Next thing you know, you're in a tough situation. They make money with a service called Robinhood Gold, where they give you extra information and this, that, and the other. And so they're not an entirely bad company, but they have flaws. Like they've had technical glitches where they've gone down right exactly the wrong time just because the technology was off, right? Not like this. In this case, it seems like it was deliberate, but in other times it's been because their technology was off. So they're just getting sued left and right. They're also getting, they've got the hammer on them from the Securities and Exchange Commission and the financial regulators that are saying, look, you need to have certain capital requirements, meaning you have to have a certain amount of cash to back up your trades because you're doing a lot of activity and we're a little bit worried. So it's almost like a bank. Like a bank has to have a certain amount of money in the bank for them to really operate, or they're going to shut the bank down. So Robinhood, from what I gathered, I got the sense that they were basically saying, look, we didn't really want to do this, but we had to do this because we've got to, find some way to maintain the capital necessary to meet these margin requirements. And the other interesting thing is that in some cases, they would shut down trading or certain type of trading on certain stocks. In other cases, I've also noticed that they would increase the margin requirement for the investor. So that means that, before maybe you could go and you could buy options by having, a certain percent, 50% of the money to make the trade. But then they said, okay, no, we need you to have 100% of the money, right? Little things like that. So anyway, I just said a lot, guys, and I'm not even going to ask a question. Did you brothers have something you wanted to say next? But I'll read the statement after you all talk, because I said way too much.
No, so it's funny. You talked about earlier about like making sacrifices. No, go for it, Tony. I just have a quick story after.
Okay. No, it was just really quick. What you just said was exactly correct, and that's exactly what the CEO Vladimir said. That basically they just couldn't cover the margins, right? Earlier in an interview during the day, he said that wasn't the issue. But then he said with Chris Cuomo that pretty much was the issue. So they just pretty much couldn't cover it. That's what it was. But earlier you did say, I know basically we don't really know if that whole thing happened as far as Citadel giving them a call and saying, look, shut it down. Actually, we do know it happened because Chris Cuomo pressed them on the issue. And he said, well, I mean, they own part of Robinhood and they have the short interest. They have a short interest in these stocks going down. So that's an allegation that's out there. And his response was, well, that has nothing to do with our decision. That had nothing to do with our decision. So you're admitting that they have a short interest in what you just did. That's criminality. Wow. People need to go to jail for that.
Conflict of interest. Yes. That's being the opposite of Robinhood, right? Like,
you literally stole people.
Give it to the rich.
Well, you robbing the hood. Wow. That's going to cause them some problems. Thanks for bringing that up, Tony. I did not see the Chris Cuomo interview. I saw him on CNBC. But they are definitely in damage control mode because they're taking some reputational hits. And I would say for sure, just as a general rule of precaution, I never believed in having all my money on one app. Because that technology goes wrong, somebody hit the wrong button, all your money disappeared, then you have to go kick somebody's butt. So don't put yourself in that position. I don't want to see you go to jail. So let me read what Robinhood said to explain their actions. Of course, remember, just the general rule about taking away anybody's freedoms and liberties is you always justify it by saying we're here to keep you safe. That's because the government does, and that apparently this is what the fintech government is doing, aka Robinhood. What they said is the title of this is Keeping Customers Informed Through Market Volatility. Our mission at Robinhood is to democratize finance for all. We're proud to have created a platform that has helped everyday people from all backgrounds shape their financial futures and invest for the long term. We continuously monitor the markets and make changes where necessary. In light of recent volatility, we've restricted transactions for certain securities to position closing only. You can see the latest here. We also raised margin requirements for certain securities. Amid significant market volatility, it's as important as ever that we help customers stay informed. That's why we're committed to providing people with educational resources. We recently revamped and expanded Robinhood Learn to help people take advantage of the hundreds of financial resources we offer to educate themselves, including how to make sense of a volatile market. In 2020, more than 3.2 million people read our articles through Robinhood Learn. Okay, first of all, let me ask y'all, does that sound like a bunch of BS so far?
Absolutely.
Like you ain't getting to the point. Y'all need to get to the point.
Right.
Okay, so here's more. They said we're committed to helping our customers navigate this uncertainty. We fundamentally believe that everyone should have access to financial markets. We're humbled to have helped many people invest, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, there's literally, they literally didn't say shit. I mean, they say, I'm reading. I'm looking
for a runaround.
So how can you say you believe for them to have access when you're blocking the access? You literally block access.
You can just say anything, whatever you want.
I kid you not. They have on the app, they have the announcement that says, due to ongoing volatility, some securities like AMC and GME are position closing only. And they said view details, right? I hit details. I'm looking for them to talk about those two stocks, exactly why they did what they did. And instead I get this weird public service announcement explaining how wonderful they are and how great they are for the world. And then now when I click on another button that says something about, let me see, you can see the latest here. They said due to ongoing volatility, the following securities are currently set to closing only. And it's not just that one stock. It's not just GameStop, American Airlines, AMC, BB BlackBerry, BBBY. Anybody know what BBBY is?
Bed Bath and Beyond.
Bed Bath and Beyond. Thank you. So there's a list. Nokia's on here. Cost is on here. I remember that name being mentioned. SNDL. Anybody know what that one is?
I'm not sure what that one is.
Okay. TR. What is that one? I don't have the tickers in front of me. But basically, they said any open orders such as market orders and limit orders for these securities were canceled since they would have resulted in a new open position. If you hold any of the listed securities, you can close your positions at any time. So they're basically saying this. Okay, you cannot buy, but you can only sell, which is interesting. And I'm trying to process that in terms of sort of thinking about what options you're giving people. So I can't imagine how that wouldn't put downward pressure on the price.
Right.
Because everybody is selling, but there are no buyers. But there were buyers on other apps. You remember earlier today, I got on E-Trade and I bought something and sold it real quick and literally made $2,000 in 5 minutes while we were talking because I was just testing it out and it moved. The price moved so fast that it's like
nosediving.
Yeah, it's that ridiculous. So I guess I'm trying to process. How do you move forward? Like, what advice would you give to people? That are looking on and maybe don't know everything about what's going on in the market, but they want to kind of get a piece of this. They hear free money is being handed out. How do you proceed from here on?
I would tell them don't jump in on this. Honestly, I would tell them don't jump in on this because what they're doing is they'd be pretty much walking into a casino with like $20 in their pocket. And, the stock market is just like a casino. The house always wins. So if what you're going to do, if you want to get involved in, investing in the stock market, I would say for new people, just invest. You don't have to swing trade. You don't have to jump into day trading and any of that stuff because there's an old saying, you can work hard or you can work smart. So I think what you need to do is work smart when you're first going in there, put your money into, maybe some low volatility stocks, some short, do some research on the company. And, due to the fact that we're just getting out of this pandemic, we know that there's going to be a general upward trajectory of a lot of these companies.
Yes.
As long as you do your research, you put your money in there, at least you have something stable that's there. As an options trader, I mean, you're putting in your money, but you can lose everything just like that.
Absolutely.
At least when you have your money put into stocks, you can, it's never going to go down to zero, like unless the company just like totally disappears off of the face of the earth. So at least you can have that. So I would say don't do your research on options. Don't start trading in options, but definitely invest in some long-term plays and you should be all right. Don't be entranced by all of this madness that you're seeing all over the place. Yeah. It's a get rich quick scheme for the most part. And there's always a loser in that.
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay, you guys all agree with that, like, so you don't have an objection or disagreement?
No, it's definitely true because, like you said, there is money that can be made, but if you don't know what you're doing, you can lose everything. And because things are changing not by the day, not by the week, it's changing by the hour. Like, it's literally changing in front of our face. Like John said, he went to sleep last night thinking he could sell off his AMC in the morning, and he couldn't even get on it, right? Like, all you could do is sell. So, like, this is unprecedented. This is not something like the regular stock market that we have hundreds of years of data to know that eventually what goes up must come down. This is totally different. This is playing a new ball game because social media, Reddit, all of these, and then with Robinhood and all these different people have different tactics, have different angles that wasn't invented 100 years ago, right? So everything is so different, and you have to be careful because you can lose everything. You can literally lose. You can get rich or you can go broke. Like, that's just as simply as it put. So if you don't know what you're doing, you have to be extremely cautious and extremely careful.
But you know what they can do? I mean, if you do want to kind of jump in on this and just try to, see your luck a little bit, test your luck, use disposable income.
Absolutely.
I was just about to say.
Put money in that you're prepared to lose.
Yeah.
Because when you think about it, the gains can be like astronomical, but make sure that you're not going to put in more than you're prepared to lose.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too, right? I mean, it could be seen as a net positive in the sense that, I mean, what were people doing with their money before they started investing anyway? I mean, when you spend your money, you guarantee a negative 100% ROI. You're guaranteed to not get that money back, right? So at least now you're putting it in a place where it could flip, it could grow. And I like the fact that it's igniting people's interest in investing, but I have a concern that it's a little bit like crypto was, where everybody jumped into crypto thinking they were going to be able to double their money in a week, and so they would go and borrow money off the credit card and do a lot of stuff that wasn't real smart. And then crypto, I mean, that market just fell like a souffle. I mean, like, all that money just disappeared and traumatized people, and so I'm wondering with GameStop too, though, I really see an opportunity. Like, what I see kind of emerging out of this is a generation of people that I believe will be really interested in investing for a long time. Some of them will be, do significant research on the stocks and stuff like that. And I see them as a generation of activist investors that can really challenge the face of capitalism. Yes. Because really capitalism works best when you really make it a democracy. When you make it, because remember, in America, you live in a capitalist democracy. I would rather live in a democratically capitalist society, right? I'd rather have the democracy come first and then the capitalism come second, right? Because when you have a purely capitalist democracy, the capitalism eats up your democracy. Like, all your politicians, they're owned by the billionaires, right? All so you're making stupid decisions, right? You're like, well, we would like to educate kids, but kids don't make no money, so we're going to leave them stupid. We'd like to, give health care for everybody, but some people are just worthless, so we're going to let them die and get sick. Right. And then, we should have rich people pay more in taxes so the government doesn't go bankrupt. But what the hell? Who cares? Right. And these are not healthy decisions. Right. But if you did it in a balanced way where you said, look, I've been advocating for this for a long time. When you have companies like Amazon and Apple that are right now, they're on trial for alleged antitrust violations, and they're getting all this scrutiny. So I said, okay, Apple already did it, and I believe Amazon's going to do it. Just split your stock and then encourage as many people as possible to own shares of your stock. And then that way you minimize the number of haters you have, right? because when you're making money, they're making money, right? They're getting excited because they're like, oh, I own Apple stock, and Apple just had a record. Apple made Apple made $100 billion this quarter, $100 billion in revenue this quarter, not for the year, for the quarter. They made $100 billion, right? And that's got to be kind of cool if you are an Apple stockholder and you're like, I got a piece of that, right? But they don't, for some reason, that greed kicks in and it causes people just to do stupid stuff. Like, greed is just a bad emotion in general. I just think it's just not healthy. What do y'all think?
Well, yeah, that's definitely true. One thing that you talk about a lot is about how can we as Black people even the playing field, and being in the market is how you do it. Tony, you talk about it on your platform. Dr. Boyce, you talk about it all the time. That is how we as a community can come up. Like, and I think because this is trending on social media, and I hate to say about our people, but we love things that are cool and hot and spanky because we're the ones that make stuff cool, right? Like we're the ones that get the Louis Vuittons popping and the Amiris and the name your favorite designer rich white man from overseas. Like we're the one that get it cool. So when we see things trending on social media, we want to get in on it. And I think a lot of young Black investors or potential investors are getting involved in this. Like, what is this Doge coin? Like what's GameStop? Why is this going up? And that's how you can even your playing field. We talk about doing it. It all starts with economics. And how you do it is getting in on something like the stock market. It ain't just the rich white folks that can be rich. You can be rich too. You have to put in the work though. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. You have to make a long-term play, but it is something that you can get in and make some money in. And that's what that's what I'm loving to see, that a lot of young Black folks are getting in on this, realizing that, hey, I can actually make some money if I learn how to do this correctly.
Yeah, and I agree. I would say I know when my dad before, he's a very smart man, but he typically stayed away from the stock market. Absolutely. And his reasoning was because well, remember what happened in the mid 1900s, the stock market crashed and these folks start jumping out of windows and all this other kind of stuff. And so, every time I would express interest in it, he would bring that up, and I was just like, well, okay, so it kind of stamp out my interest. But after a while, I was just like, man, you know what? I'm tired of that fear holding me back. I'm going to learn about it because I'm working alongside when I used to work at this job where like very wealthy white people. And there's this one guy, he just made $2 million like it was nothing. Like, oh, yep, just made $2 million there. I'll send $1 million to my wife. And I was just like, yo, what? You don't even need to work here. You made $2 million today. You don't even need their salary at this place. But he was just like, yeah, I just made. And I was just like, I need to learn how to do that. And so I would learn off of them. And I would suggest everybody, now is the time, just like Dr. Boyce constantly says, you have YouTube University, you have Google University. Hell, you have Dr. Boyce here that's constantly giving you links. Like I will teach
Black
you
Business School.
How to do this.
Shameless plug.
That's not even really a shameless plug. It's just not like, I'll teach you how to do it. And from a Black man, because he clearly cares about you as a Black person, from a Black man that knows what he's talking about. And you have all of this information that can show you how to do that. Study it. And just like they were saying, like only put up money, like the money that you were going to spend at the movies or the money that you were just going to blow. I'm going to buy this bag. I don't need this bag, but I was going to buy this bag. Instead of putting that money on that bag where your money is depreciating as soon as you buy the bag, put some money in Apple, put some money in Tesla. That money is going to appreciate. It's going to move up. So why not take that same money that you're just going to blow and put it into something long-term investing? Start with that first. And as your knowledge starts growing, then you can start, getting into options. And then you can start getting into making spreads and all this other stuff that you don't know, have no idea what I'm talking about right now. But as you learn more, you'll start understanding, oh, it's a lot of money to be made. I know how this game works. And you can take that same money and reinvest it back into your community and influence other people who look like you to make money for ourselves as well.
Yeah. Go ahead, Tony, please.
No, I was just going to say briefly, I think we've normalized being an underclass. And when we see this level of normalization, we don't see certain levels of success for ourselves. And we just get trapped into this box. So for me, it really is very encouraging to see this high level of interest amongst Black people. I mean, you're seeing it from the collective, everyone, but I'm particularly Black people and young Black people. I'm seeing such a high level of interest in the stock market, in just investment in general, real estate investment, because I'm also a real estate investor. And, I'm seeing like a lot of movement in that area. So if there's one thing that this pandemic, one byproduct of the pandemic has been, maybe let's say raising the level of consciousness of a lot of our people as far as, this group economic model. So I love the fact that so many of us are finding our niche. Some people, there's so much entrepreneurship that I see sprouting up in our community. And, I had no real interest in the stock market before the pandemic hit. I had a little bit of experience with it. And like you said, John, see, I was afraid. I was terrified. The first time I tried investing in stocks, it was in penny stocks. And we know what happened with that. I don't even need to say it. So yeah, but I decided to get back into it. And, I really did my research. And that's the most important thing. And that's the most attractive thing that I'm seeing today. I'm seeing so many of our young people who love to do their research. They're attracted to information. And so, what we're seeing now is with the censorship and all of these attacks on free speech, we're seeing there's a blockage to information. So, like I said, in previous conversations we had, platforms like this are very important, and they will continue to grow. And I've been watching your channel for a while, Dr. Boyce, and honestly, man, let me tell you something. We think very similarly in a lot of ways, and it's refreshing for me, because sometimes in this world, especially on social media, you walk around and you start thinking like, oh my God, am I crazy? Am I stupid? You start questioning yourself because of all of the ridiculousness that you're seeing on social media. It feels like everybody has this huge campaign to just troll you. It's like you're standing in a room by yourself shouting and no one can hear you. So platforms like these are really refreshing, and there are a lot more people out there who are attracted to this and who are listening, and I hope it continues to grow. And that's all I got to say. I really love this, and I appreciate being here.
Man, well, I appreciate you brothers being here, and I appreciate everybody that's watching. And let me just do a quickly let you know what we were doing, what we're talking about. We're talking about all the stuff going on with Robinhood and the stock markets and everything else. And if everybody could do something for me real quick, take 1 second, please, whatever platform you're on, hit a thumbs up button. We need you to share this also, because we're building Black media, and building Black media means we don't have billions of dollars. We are doing this, just from the root. And so if you guys, not the root, not them, I'm talking about, we ain't the root, but we are all Black all the time. And so if you all could take 1 second, please, and hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. And also we do have different events going on at different times. So Lene Javette is hosting Women of Wealth Weekend on the 30th and 31st. They got over 20 different Black women coming together and talking about everything from how to make money with an online class, to how to build a bulletproof business, to how to create a life-changing side hustle, to the art of financial lovemaking, literally all the way across it, from therapists to CEOs, to investors, all this stuff. So feel free to go to womenofwealthweekend.com. Lene Javette's the host. So I want to ask you guys this. So what do you think? I mean, right now, so we're in this really crazy situation with GameStop, and the Reddit guys decided to just, we're just going to move the marketing in GameStop. Let's talk about GameStop. What do you see happening with GameStop? I mean, I'm impressed that the price has held itself for as long as it has. I'm looking at GameStop right now, and I don't think, I think it's still it's still over 300. Yes, 311 right now. I did not know if it was going to be 311 by now. I'm going to tell y'all a little secret about what I did with GameStop, and I wasn't sure if I was smart or stupid, but I bought the stock at 113. I did not want to stay in the stock, so I sold the call options with strike prices of 135 and 140. And so immediately within 1 hour, the stock goes up $80 or something. Ooh. And so it's way past the strike price. I made a bag of money. The problem though was that I didn't realize that I picked expiration dates that were February 5th and February 12th, which means that what this means is that I got to hold the stock till then. Right? That's how it works when you sell the option, so what I did was I bought put options, right, to protect the lower bound of my position, so that if the stock plummets, put options are like insurance. So I bought some put options to protect against a downside drop. So I gave some of that money back to buy the insurance, but it's still kind of one of those things where I've been like, okay, so I'm wondering how long until this balloon pops. And the balloon hasn't popped. And what that makes me wonder is what's really going on here? Like, what's the goal? Like, what do you think the goal of the Redditors is with this stock? I mean, is it because I thought it was a classic pump and dump? Like, we're gonna pump it up, we're gonna get everybody excited, everybody's gonna jump in and buy, we're gonna sell, right? And that's the thing you got to watch. Like, who are the leaders of all of this, and do they still have their position? I know one of the guys who was one of the main people that pushed this. he went on TV. He said, "Oh, I'm already out. I sold mine."
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's what you got to watch out for is that the people who tell you to go buy it and get the price boosted up, they grab their bag and bounce out, and you still holding this overpriced stock, playing this crazy game of musical chairs. What do y'all think is the future of GameStop? I mean, what do you think this is going to go?
Well, I think this has taken a life of its own, like you said. I mean, when you first look at it, I mean, it has all the traits of a classic pump and dump, and it's not surprising that the guy, let's say, he said he's out. Whoever started this, he's out. But being that it's taking on a life of its own, I really see it continuing to rally. I honestly see it continuing to do that because it's like almost like there's no direction right now. And with social media and it's at the top of the news right now. It's going to keep happening for a minute. But as far as the future of GameStop is concerned, I think they have a unique opportunity right now, whether it be through like a stock offering, do some sort of liquidation, and restructure their company to modernize it, so to speak, to make it relevant now. Because the worth of that company has what quintupled or something like that. I don't even know right now.
Oh, it was over 10 billion. But I think that was when the stock was like maybe $100 a share. So.
And they hit like 400 and change. So they have the liquidity to restructure this company and make it relevant and useful in this new age. You know what I'm saying? So So if I were them, I would get on that right now to somewhat justify some of the valuation, even though it's grossly overvalued right now.
Yeah, the market cap was 13.5 billion. And that was when the price was at 193. Now the price is at 311. So yeah. So
311 billion?
311 a share. 311 a share.
$311 a share. Yeah. The market cap now, I'm guessing is somewhere around 20 billion,
somewhere around there.
Yeah, 20 billion. So I guess at the start of this whole chaos, it might have been $1.5 billion company, something like that. And that's what I'm wondering. I'm thinking like, well, okay, maybe as I'm saying, like maybe they're transitioning to become activist investors who are like, okay, we like GameStop and whatever y'all doing ain't working, so we're gonna buy your company. We're gonna do a hostile takeover, right? That they did a lot of these in the 80s actually, except usually they were financed by banks. Now they're financed by people. And we're gonna come in and we're gonna start voting in the shareholder meetings and telling you what you need to do to make this company better. I think that's actually kind of cool. What do y'all think?
That would be really cool if that was the play. I think, though, we have to watch it, though, because the thing is, you were stopped from buying it this morning. We can't forget that. Like, we were literally, you couldn't buy, you could only sell. And that's what nosedived it. And I think what happened was what Tony said. The big hedge funds bought the shorts to nosedive and then hopped right back in. And then that's when Robinhood allowed you to buy it again. Robinhood, Webull, and the other ones allowed you to buy it again, and that's what shot it back up. It's after, if you look at the stock, it's after hours when it shot back up, because it was after 5 o'clock, the business day or whatever, when it actually rose back up $100. Like, that is something we got to watch. So I think they're in, and I would not be surprised if you, like you said, the main dude's already said he's pulled out, and see if these guys, okay, they'll see like, dang, I'm not making any money, or hell, I might even be losing money because I bought in at 320 and it's down to 200 or 250. It's time to pull. And so I wouldn't be surprised if over the next 2 weeks, if it does begin to nosedive once again. That's something we definitely have to watch it. I wouldn't buy in at $300 a share, but I can't tell anybody else what to do with their money. That's for sure.
But there is another little tidbit of information that we haven't discussed yet. Robinhood has now agreed to allow people to start buying the securities again. Tomorrow. They're allowing limited buying of securities. So I don't think that's a coincidence. I mean, now you're allowing people to start buying after you've forced everyone to lose their money and the stock price is in the toilet. Come on. Like, this is so obvious. Yeah, they're going to let you go in there because they need you to pump the price of that stock right back up for the hedge funds.
Yeah. The second coming of making money.
Yeah, we're falling for it. We're falling for it, brother.
Man. I mean, that's what I think is going to happen. I think just like you said, they're going to open it back up. I think the price is going to go up because you have a lot of people that was just in the Reddit forums. There was hold the line, hold the line.
Yeah, hold still.
Right. Even Ja Rule came out. He was like, "Hey, everybody, we need to hold the line." They showed the Dave Chappelle video. It was like, man, ain't nobody listening to Ja Rule, man. I'm like, okay, you think? So I think what's going to happen is going to go up, just like Tony said, so that it can go back down. The bubble is going to pop. It's going to go down. They're going to make their money. Because now at this point, the people who helped drive it up, they already made their money. They're out, and now it's like a leaderless movement. So where people, I'm just trying to get in and make some money. Yeah, listen, I just want to be in and screw Wall Street, and I get that. But now it's just like, who's really in control of this? Now it's just it has no head to this snake, and it's just moving about just wildly. So it's gonna crash. I think they are moving towards Doge, so I will keep my eye on Doge just to see what's up. But I think GameStop is kind of towards the end in the next couple of weeks. The
danger zone for sure.
Yeah, but I think we're entering a new era of investing, right? I think the old ways of doing things are over now, and while we know that the bubble is going to burst on GameStop, we have to also consider that this entire movement is spreading like wildfire. They're like swarming the market like locusts right now, and let's refer to them as the establishment. The establishment is so terrified right now that they're pulling out all the stops, and they displayed that today when they pretty much halted trading on it was like a dozen or more different stocks that really had nothing to do with it. I mean, they gave some vague excuse saying, well, we're going to halt trading on any stocks that show any type of suspicious activity or that were mentioned in correlation to being mentioned on social media. Mm-hmm. How many publicly traded companies are mentioned on social media?
Every single one.
So what are you saying? That if a stock moves more than 20%, you're going to now automatically trigger a halt? This is getting ridiculous. And we have to also make sure that we continue to pound this in, that Robinhood was completely out of line with what they did. They did not have the right to do what they did. When it comes to those types of regulatory actions, the people who should be implementing that type of stuff would be the SEC or the stock exchange itself. But what Robinhood did, they overstepped the boundary and they forced people to lose a lot of money, and they have to be held liable for it because there's no justification for what they did. And their CEO went on TV today and basically, I don't even know who his media people are, but bro, he made the case for Wall Street bets and every average Joe investor out there.
Interesting.
What you say, John? No, I was just gonna say, the sucky part about this is that the good thing is that Robinhood is potentially going to be held accountable. They need to be held accountable. I'm praying that they are held accountable because you basically stole money from so many people that you, by your name, you are supposed to be fighting for, and this app represents. But we all know that that's not the truth. But also, there are other companies. It wasn't just Robinhood, but there was TD Ameritrade. It was Webull. It was Cash App that you could not get any GameStop. You couldn't buy anything at GameStop. You can buy anything at AMC. But the sucky thing about this is it's like that somebody in America, it's kind of hard for us to pay attention to multiple things at one time as Americans. So we need to focus on one thing. We need to narrow in. And it's like, Robinhood. Forget all these other apps that did the same thing. But Robinhood is going to be the sacrificial lamb. And sadly, I think like the TD Ameritrades and the Weebulls, all these other apps that did the same thing, they're just kind of going to get glossed over, passed over. Yes, even though they stole money from a lot of people too.
Well, TD Ameritrade stopped the trading on the stock too, and one of the things I am thinking about too is that I do know though that that when there's a lot of volatility, I know definitely market wide, they have things called circuit breakers in place,
right?
So that when the market drops a certain percentage, they just stop trading. And there's a good reason for that. You just want people to kind of calm down and come back to their senses. But this kind of goes beyond circuit breaker. It's almost it really tests the integrity of the financial system, because one of the things that happens a lot on Robinhood apps is that there's a lot of trading that happens on margin. A lot of people borrow the money that they need to make certain trades. And what you'll notice even before this happened is that the more volatile the stock is or the option is, the stricter the margin requirements are. Meaning the more of your own money you got to come with. You can't borrow our money to make this crazy trade, right? You can do it, but you need to use your own money. And so I'm wondering if all this volatility, I don't believe Robinhood is stable. I think Robinhood's trying to sort of cover for some sort of illiquidity issue that they might have, where basically when you've got a stock that's rocking like that, up and down, back and forth, it's like being on a ship that's in the middle of a hurricane, and that ship, it's nothing steady. Everything's falling, glasses are breaking, crazy stuff is happening. So basically, that environment does not lend itself well to any form of lending, margin, or credit, right? Mm-hmm. And the thing is, a lot of our system is built on lending, margin, and credit. Everybody's borrowing money to make this move or the other move. So when you get that kind of chaos and volatility, a lot of people are like, yo, I'm not even going to touch that, because, like even the market maker, even the middleman has to basically extend credit, right? Like, so for example, there's one movie I saw, I don't remember, I wish I could think of the name, but it was a good movie. It was about a lady who ran poker games. And when she would run poker games, if a guy, like if she had big ball, she would invite all these big ballers to play poker at her house. And because they were big ballers, she would extend credit to all of them. Like, so one guy losing $1 million at night, she would just give him credit, but she might have to pay the other person who might say, you told me you'd give me my money by Tuesday. So she had to pull money out of her pocket to pay this guy and wait for this guy to give her money, right? Which meant that when somebody decided, look, we're just not going to pay you, or we're going to take a long time to pay you, or we're going to make it hard to pay you, that became an issue. Volatility and a lack of integrity in the system kind of breaks down her ability to be the middleman, right? So with these stocks, when these stocks get traded, the middleman is very important, what they call the market makers, right? Because think about it, when you sell a stock, you don't know who you're selling it to. Well, you're selling it to the market maker who's got a buyer on the other side of the transaction. Yeah. But if the price moves, like if the price moves $50 in 2 minutes before they get a chance to unload, they just bought it from you for $100. Now they got to go over here and try to sell it for $150, or better yet, they sold it for $100, and then they got to buy it for $150 or whatever to make the trades match. It just gets to that point where it gets messy, right? And so I can see why some of the market makers will say, "Yo, we don't want to mess with that stock." But the problem though is that with Robinhood, they got to find a way around that, right? If they want people to trust them, their biggest thing that they've lost, in my view, is they've lost their core audience. Like their core was all these people that believed that they were democratizing finance, which is a great noble objective. That's why they were worth $20 billion when they're going to go public. They can't do that anymore. So they might crumble, the same way WeWork did. WeWork was about to go public, and I think WeWork had a $45 billion valuation. And there was a professor at NYU who did a podcast, and he called it a "We What the Fuck." And literally, he broke down and explained, as an NYU professor, I don't know his name, but he explained why WeWork was a crappy company that was literally on a house of cards that was going to fall over at any moment. And that valuation dropped from like 45 billion to like 5 or 6 or 8 billion or something like that. So a lot of people lost a lot of money. So I think that Robinhood could be in danger of cracking. There's something beneath the surface that they don't want the public to know about. And I think that's why they're on the defensive. Any final thoughts from you guys? I just said a lot. as I do. I can't help it. Y'all know I talk too much. My apologies. Go ahead, brothers.
So just my final thought was I want to tell a quick story. It has to, and I'm going to tie it in all at the end. So earlier in the podcast, Dr. Boyce said, you know, I worked harder than my friends. I went this way and they went right. So as a lot of you may or may not know, Dr. Boyce went to high school with my mom, right? So I kind of like formally really remember meeting him when I was like 8 or 9 years old, right? He wrote this book called What If George Bush Was a Black Man? And my mom like was so adamant about me reading this. I'm like, man, I don't care about like this stuff. I'm 9. I'm trying to go play Xbox. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to meet this man. She was like, he's a doctor. He wrote a book. He's gonna make a book. And we're gonna read him. And I'm like, man, whatever. So he writes this book. And when he comes to meet me for the first time that I actually remember, he said, man, when you go to school, when you go to college, especially, you got to study 4 hours a day, because that's what I did. And I was like, what? Like, you know, in theory, it sounds like, okay, that sounds like cool. And Tony, I don't know if you went to college, John. I know you went to school, and it was like 4 hours a day in college. like that is a sacrifice nobody. As you can see, I got these letters on. I wouldn't be wearing these letters because I was studying 4 hours a day. And so I'm saying that to say this. That's why he's a doctor and I work in local TV. He's got a DR next to his name and I don't. So anyway, but to say that is that if you put in the time, you can make a lot of money in this market. Like if you literally put in the time, I'm not telling you to spend 4 hours a day like Dr. Boyce did. He was a different kind of student in college. Like there was something a lot of us can't commit to, but there is money in this market. There is money to be made, and it always will be. Like the stock market has been around for as long as it has because people are getting rich because of it. And so that is the same thing that we as a people can do. And I think a lot of our people are starting to get more and more invested into it. That's what I had to say is my final thoughts.
Yeah, the stock market is the key to wealth. That's literally the thing that separates middle class from upper class. Like the people who don't participate in the stock market rarely go past middle class. The 1%, like 90-some% of the 1% invest in the stock market. So if you ever want to be rich, keep doing what you're doing. But be an investor. Don't just be a trader. Like
Absolutely.
Don't be out here shaking the bones. Like that ain't gonna get you ahead. But John, your final thought?
If you really want to start building wealth, look at all the different ways you can build wealth. And investing is another way that you can build wealth. You are literally taking your hard-earned cash and making it work for you. You can make your money work for you to where all this hard work that you're putting in, all these countless hours that you're doing, to where now you have something to pass on to your kids and your kids' kids, and you instilled something in them like a lot of people in the Black community we don't really learn about. One, because it's been blocked from us, but now it's so much more accessible now. This is the time. This is the time. Like I said, Google University, YouTube University, there is no excuse for you can be cleaning up in your house and go on YouTube and put up a video of a person explaining how stocks work. You don't necessarily have to look at it, but just listen to it. If you just start doing things like that, listening to how these things work, you will start, because I don't have time to do this. I don't have time. Find creative ways to figure out how to learn how to do this stuff. Because if you really want wealth, so many white people have wealth on top of wealth on top of wealth. It's time for us to start having wealth now. And we have avenues that we can take advantage of. And we have no excuse really now to start building wealth, not only for ourselves, but for our kids and for our grandkids. So really put in that time, take that time, read about articles, read about this stuff. It's confusing at first. I know it seems like a foreign language, but once you start reading more and more about it and hearing Dr. Boyce talk about it, hearing all these other people talk, okay, I know what that means. And I know what he means by shorting. I know what he means by squeeze. I understand that now. Just we have to start encouraging other people to start learning this too. Your cousins, your friends, because we're all we got. Really, we all we got. So that's my call to you.
All right. Tony Lindsay, your final thought.
Yeah. Well, I would say, I mean, I pretty much agree with everything the brother said on the panel tonight. What I want to just encourage people to do is educate yourself. It's very important for us to find that love of that access to new information, because that's the only way that we're really going to be able to grow. With the high level of entrepreneurship and that I'm seeing, I think it's a wonderful thing. And I think it's something that we should continue to build on in our community, because that is the key to wealth. You know, when I'm a real estate investor. I've been investing in real estate for about 18 years now. And I was always afraid of the stock market. And I have to agree with you, Boyce, that if you're not in the stock market, you're not really trying to get wealthy. I made a lot of money in real estate, but after, becoming more savvy in the stock market and investing and trading, I'm realizing how sizable the gains are that you can attain by, doing this. So I would encourage people to just do your research. And as far as what we were talking about today, as far as Robinhood and everything happening in the market today, I don't want people to just, focus on Robinhood. Let's not just hone in on only Robinhood, because what we're seeing is a total consolidation of power and interest of the establishment of the 1% against you. So just keep your eyes on the prize.
All right. So everybody, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. And also, just so you know, we have specialists always waiting to talk to you about your wealth plan and what you want to do with your family at the Black Business School. It doesn't cost you anything to talk to them. Feel free to go to their website and you can talk to them. There might be somebody on the site right now. There'll definitely be some people on the site in the morning. So with that said, I guess a final thought on this would be, number one, make sure you always know the difference between being a trader and being an investor. What you're witnessing now is a lot of fun. Think about like a basketball game where, the team's up by 30 points. So they're kind of clowning and hot dogging and dribbling and, in circles, throwing passes behind their back and, shooting crazy shots because there's nothing at stake. It's really just, it's like, okay, we're just having fun, right? But when the game gets intense and you have to scrap for every single point, that's where you have to be more deliberate, more intentional, more focused. You have to stick with the plan, stick with the strategy. Well, investing is like that. Like right now, we're hot dogging, having fun. There's some crazy stuff happening that creates some easy opportunities. But when in most market conditions, it's not like this. Most of the time, you get in situations where the smartest person wins. The one who does their homework wins. Being focused and intense helps you win. Patience allows you to win. Discipline allows you to win. And long-term investing, long-term wealth building, that's what's required. You have to be able to know that once this is over with and once the market drops, which is going to drop. I mean, it's just doing too good right now. Can you still make money then? Are you still going to stick with it? Or are you going to walk away because your easy GameStop doggy coin money ain't coming in anymore? Like seriously, like Dogecoin, doggy coin, whatever the hell they call it, that coin is worthless. Like just make sure we 100% clear. Like let's keep it 100. That coin has no fundamental economic value whatsoever. Yeah. But does that make it a crazy investment? I don't know. I mean, if you're betting on speculation of what people are going to do later, then maybe it does have value, right? Like, for example, a pair of Gucci jeans. What's a pair of Gucci jeans worth? Like, it's not worth $800 or whatever the hell they sell it for. A pair of Jordans is not worth $300, but there's a whole market for Jordans, right? So I'm not here to say that something that has no fundamental value is absolutely worthless. I'm just here to make sure that you know that a lot of that money could disappear very, very quickly. And you got to always have a plan B, always be prepared. But use this as an opportunity. This is an opening. This is a chance for you to experience a new life. The hardest way to make money actually is to work for it. I didn't know this till I got older. I literally had to be 40 years old before I figured out that the hardest way in the world to make money is to go to work every day. I used to think that was the only way to make money. Yep. Now I know better. The best way to make money is when you have some capital stacked up. You can flip over. You can make some trades on some stocks, have some long-term investments, make some financial moves, go make a few $1,000s and roll over and go right back to sleep. I know people that live that life. I want your kids to have that life. And the way they get to live that life is if you build them a capital base. A capital base allows people to make moves and live life. Like John's coworker who just made a quick $2 million and said, "Oh, I sent my wife $1 million," and act like it wasn't nothing. Right? There are people who live that way. You may not have grown up around these people, but I've seen it. And believe me, once you see it, you never go back. Once you get used to making money the easy way, it's very hard to go back to making it the hard way. So let's go make money the flyway. I met the brother hit this. I remember that song, "Wanna Be a Baller." Making money the flyway. Yeah, I was at Willie D's thing. Willie D was having like he did a roast. They did a roast for him for his 30th anniversary since the Ghetto Boys came out. And as an old guy comes on, he's like, "Hey, Dr. Boyce, how you doing, man?" I said, "Hey, how you doing, brother?" And he said, "I said, so what brings you here? What do you do?" He said, "You ever heard that song, Want to Be a Baller, Shot Caller?" He said, "Yeah, I wrote that song." I said, "Really? That's a great song, man. It's still one of my favorites." Anyway, so let's all go make money to fly away. God bless everybody, and thank you, brothers, for doing this. I appreciate it, and I'll see y'all tomorrow. So let's keep staying smart, staying black. Hit the thumbs up button on your way out. See you guys later. Take care. Peace.
Peace.